What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another video. Today we have the Sunday market breakdown, and we have three pairs for you, which is the NZD USD, Euro USD, and gold, which is the last pair. So before we get in, the platform that we are using is TradingView. So if you want to use this platform, please click the link in the description. But with that being said, I would like to take this moment and say, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really means a lot, guys. So let's jump to the charts. Okay, let's wait. Beautiful. Okay, the first pair that we are starting with is NZD USD. So let's start from a higher time frame, going down to a smaller time frame. Okay, so the first pair that we're starting with is NZD USD. So normally when we start analyzing, we start from a higher time frame, going down to a smaller time frame. So we start from the daily, going down to the 15 minutes. So the first thing that we are going to do is identify our high and our low. So this is our high on the daily time frame, and this is our low on the daily time frame. So with that being said, let's also identify our levels. So as you can see, the market rejected here, right? And also you could see that the market also rejected here. You could also see that the market also rejected here. So guys, if you can notice, NZD USD has actually been trending to the downside, right? So as you could see, we had a previous larger correction here. Then we broke to the downside, right? After breaking to the downside, let's go down to the 4 hour. After breaking to the downside, you could also see that we had a type of a correction here. I will use my trend line to identify my support trend line and also identify my resistance trend line. So as you guys could see here, we had an impulse to the downside. Market gave us the correction here. Then we had the next impulse to the downside. So let's look at the current market. Let's look at what's happening on the current market. So let's go down to the 1 hour time frame. Okay, so coming down to the 1 hour time frame, you can see that this was our previous correction here. We had a previous correction, right? The market also pushed to the downside. So as you could see now, we had a type of a rising wedge. This being our support trend line, and this being our resistance trend line. So let's also cater for this resistance here, and let's also cater for this support. So we normally know that a rising wedge is a reversal pattern, and guys, as you could see, we are trending to the downside, right? So this could be a continuation. Sorry about that. This could be a continuation to the downside. if I could use my tool called the pulse pattern, this could be a contribution to the downside. But with that being said, let's jump to 1 hour time frame. Okay, so coming down to the 15 minutes, as you can see, we had a break out of structure, right? We had a break out of the rising wedge. So because we broke out of the rising wedge, this gave us an impulse to the downside. So what we could wait for right now is a correction to confirm that it's a continuation to the downside, right? Not only did we have a rising wedge, we also had a double top. We also had a double top. So this also confirmed a double top for us. So like I said, guys, one thing that we could wait for is to wait for the correction to mature. Then we can execute going to the downside. Then we can execute going to the downside. But for now, we just apply patience. For now, we just apply patience. But this is my anticipation on NZD USD, guys. I'm waiting for this correction to mature, then I can execute going to the downside. So let's just do a recap before we move into the next pair. So like I said, we have been trending to the downwards. So right now the price action has just presented a rising wedge, which is a continuation to the downside, right? So for now, we can wait for this correction to mature. After it matures, then we can take an entry going to the downside. So let's move down to the next pair. So the next pair that we have is Euro USD. The next pair that we have is Euro USD. So like I said, normally when we start analyzing, we start from a higher time frame going down to a smaller time frame. So on my Euro USD, I'm going to identify my daily support. Actually, sorry about that, I'm going to identify my daily resistance, and I'm also going to identify my daily support. So after identifying my daily support, what else am I seeing? I can see that Euro USD also rejected on this level, right? I can also see that Euro USD also rejected on this level. This being a fake out, but also I have to cater for this level. The reason being Euro USD actually rejected on that level. So let's jump to the 4 hour. Okay, so coming down to the 4 hour, I can see that this has been a resistance for me. This has been a resistance for me. Because this has been a resistance, I can see that we are having a double top. The reason why I'm saying that we are having a double top is because we are having equal highs. So on my first peak, I can see that the market actually formed a type of an ascending channel here. which was a reversal pattern for selling opportunities. So let's see what's happening on this second peak. Let's jump to the 1 hour time frame. Okay, after coming down to the 1 hour time frame, you can see that Euro USD has actually been bullish, but we have reached a resistance level, which means that there is a possibility of seeing selling opportunities. Also, reason being that we are seeing a double top, and a double top normally confirms selling opportunities. So we had an inverse head and shoulder and a push to the upside. This was an expanding triangle. An expanding triangle is a continuation to the upside. That's why we had that impulse, continuation, correction, and impulse. So right now we are looking for a reversal. So let's go to the 15 minutes time frame. Okay, coming down to the 15 minutes time frame, I can see that we are having a support here, right? I can also see that we are having a support here, and very interesting, I can also see that we are having an ascending channel, which is what the duplicate of the left hand side. Because guys, if you could see clearly here, what is happening on the right, normally it is being mimicked on the left hand side. If you guys could see here, this is a similar pattern that we are having on the right hand side, right? This is a similar pattern that we are having on the right hand side. So make sure that you take notice of that, guys. So let's zoom in and let's focus on the current market. So if you guys could see here, we are actually forming a double top for this 15 minutes time frame, this being our first peak. Then the market might be forming a second peak. And how do we know that? This being our correction, this being our correction, meaning that this was our first impulse correction, then we might be seeing that impulse to the top, giving us a double top, right? Then we can see something similar like this, then pushing to the downside, right? So coming down to the 1 hour time frame, it will actually be confirming our setup, because we are seeing a double top on the larger time frame, and then coming down to a smaller time frame, we could also be forming a double top on this side. So for now, it is just a matter of patience, guys. For now, it is just a matter of patience. So you could wait for the double bottom, sorry about that. You could wait for the double top to mature, or you could wait for the first correction. It will just depend on you guys. But for Euro USD, I'm actually looking for selling opportunities, because normally the left hand side likes to be mimicked on the right hand side, guys. So as soon as we saw this ascending channel, we had that impulse to the downside. Market gave us a correction, which was a continuation to the downside. So even here, guys, we could have something similar, right? We could have something similar. We could have something similar like this, which is being that first impulse, then that correction, then that impulse to the downside. So for Euro USD, I'm actually looking for selling opportunities, guys. So moving down to the last pair, which is gold. Let's move down to the last pair, which is gold, guys. Again, we start from a higher time frame, going down to a smaller time frame. So the reason why we start from a higher time frame is because we want to see the overall direction, guys. We don't want to be caught on the wrong side. So we want to see the overall direction. So if you are analyzing with me right now, make sure that you follow. And guys, don't forget to like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you turn on the notification bell so every time you drop, you'll be notified. So let's move down to the last pair of the video, which is the Sunday market breakdown. We have our support and we have our resistance. So as you could see here, gold is actually trading between these two levels, right? So let's also identify our key levels. We could also see that gold rejected on this level. We could also see that gold also rejected on this level, right? So after identifying our levels on our daily, let's go down to the 4-hour time frame. So coming down to the 4-hour time frame, guys, you could see that gold has been bearish, but the question is how long are we going to be bearish, right? So I could also see that we also have a level here and we also have a level here, right? So after identifying my levels on the 4-hour time frame, I can also see that we are having a rising wedge here. We are having a type of a rising wedge. So after seeing that rising wedge, I can see also that we have a pattern within a pattern. I have a pattern within a pattern. I can also see that I have a pattern within a pattern, right? So gold actually broke to the downside impulsively, guys. Listen to this. Gold actually broke to the downside impulsively, part of structure. So giving us a corrective manner, right? So my prediction would be that we could be forming a continuation to the downside as the next impulse. Then we might be seeing a potential of a double top. But for now, we are looking for selling opportunities. Reason being that we are seeing that impulse to the downside, market giving us a correction as a continuation to the downside. So I'm also going to identify my level here, and I'm also going to identify my level here, which is my support and my resistance. So let's go down to the 1-hour time frame. Okay, so coming down to the 1-hour time frame, I can see that this is a correction, guys. This is a correction. So I could let this correction mature enough to give me an entry, or I could rush the entry right now. So I would advise you to actually wait for the setup to mature enough, then you can execute going to the downside. So for now, you could actually wait for a potential double top, then you can execute going to the downside. Right, market giving us that potential setup. So for now, we could actually wait for the double top here, guys. You could actually wait for the double top as your confirmation, or you could wait for the correction, which is a continuation to the downside. But for gold, I'm actually looking for selling opportunities, guys, and it's actually looking as a high probability setup for us. right? So you could also catch the wave. Make sure that you look for an entry that is suitable, and remember to always use risk management, guys. So for gold, I'm actually looking for selling opportunities. The reason being, we are in a correction. I am looking for the next impulse to the downside, guys. So with that being said, this is one of your mentors, Capital Link Operations. I would like to tell you guys thank you so much for choosing this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below.